Hello? What the hell is this?
I'm asking myself the same question. No, this can't be happening. What are you doing here?
Well, I'll tell you that when you tell me where here is. Is this cosplay? Oh, do you want a selfie, bro?
No,
I'm sorry.
We're not, no. I'm also the Flash.
You're also the what?
The Flash?
The Flash? The Flash?
It's complicated.
I like your outfit. It seems
Thinking
comfy.
yours is pretty cool.
Smooth.
Seems safe and
breathable. Found Barry Allen. No! What does that mean? How can this...
This should be impossible now.
It should be impossible now?
You don't know about the...
Oh my God, don't do this to me. I don't know about the what. You okay? I told Victor this was possible.
What does this mean?
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my Crisis on Infinite Earths finale video for episodes 4 and 5. They just did it back to back as like a 2-hour finale, but it's really 2 different episodes. So we'll break it down. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Easter eggs. Because this is such a big deal, we're doing a new round of that Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your favorite moment from the crossover on the video. Careful for spoilers if you have not seen the episode. I'm assuming most of you have seen it or you don't care about spoilers, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. Cannot believe that they canonized the movies, the DCEU, to the Arrowverse, so we'll get to all that big stuff. Starting with number 20, they flash back to give us the Monitor's origin story. So like I said in my previous videos, they've changed this a little bit to fit within what they've been doing with the TV shows so far, but there are a lot of comic book Crisis on Infinite Earths Easter eggs here. The planet that the Monitor is from, Maltus, from 10,000 years ago, is a version of the planet that Krona, the original person from Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comics, is from. They blame the creation of the Anti-Monitor and him discovering the positive matter universe on his experiment to go back and witness the dawn of the multiverse. So he winds up in the antimatter universe by accident, alerting the Anti-Monitor to the presence of the positive matter universe, and that sets everything off. In the comics, the scientist Krona goes back to witness the dawn of the universe. It's only one universe when he goes back. He causes an accident that leads to the creation of the multiverse, and eventually the antimatter universe where the Anti-Monitor is born. She also references chronal radiation as in Krona, the character from the comics. Number 19, Oliver Queen becomes the Spectre. We kind of saw a version of this at the cliffhanger in the last episode, but this is them just taking it that further. Jim Corrigan teaches him what it is to be the Spectre, what it all means, what his mission is. Ryan Choi makes a Star Wars joke when he shows up to explain what's going on. He's wearing the robes. He says, "That's a very Sith look that you have, like a Sith Lord." He gives Barry, quote-unquote, his power-up. "I've unlocked your full potential, Barry." The joke there is that Barry's full potential was unlocked the minute that he was hit with lightning, but they go into the Speed Force. The Anti-Monitor is so powerful that he almost is able to grab Barry while he's in the Speed Force. He goes around to all the different places in the Speed Force, picking up the Paragons, to what amounts to different constructs from important moments in their own histories. So it sort of plays like a highlights reel for most of the characters, except for Barry because of the big cameo scene. But number 18, they do their big Ezra Miller Flash cameo from Justice League. So obviously I put that scene at the beginning of this because it's so mind-blowing and so amazing that they were able to pull this off. But Mark Guggenheim, the showrunner on Arrow, who was sort of the lead writer on the big Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, said that it's actually Jim Lee himself who made it possible. You remember, the reason why the Ezra Miller Flash doesn't know that he's called the Flash, like, wow, the Flash, that's actually a really cool name, is because they never called him the Flash during the Justice League movie, during Batman v Superman, or Suicide Squad, any of his appearances. They'll probably work that out when they get to the Flash movie, and they confirmed that they're actually doing Flashpoint as the story for the Flash movie. They make a couple of jokes about each other's costumes, like Barry says, "Oh wow, that's actually a pretty cool looking costume," and then Ezra Miller's Flash is like, "Wow, that looks really comfy, it looks very breathable." Justice League movie Flash references Vic Stone, aka Cyborg, saying that they had discussed the idea of the multiverse. I told Vic that something like this might be possible. Then he vanishes because Barry says this shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be possible because of what? Don't do that to me, bro. The whole idea is that the multiverse just got wiped, so he shouldn't exist. The only way he would have survived and actually been in the Speed Force for this crossover is if he was in the Speed Force when the multiverse got wiped. When they actually get to the Flash movie, I don't think that he's going to remember the events of this crossover, because remember, the multiverse got rebooted. The only people that remember everything are the Paragons, and then the people that Martian Manhunter sort of filled in the details on. The weird thing that they don't do at the end of the episode, though, is tell you which numbered Earth the Justice League Ezra Miller Flash comes from. I'm surprised that they didn't do that. Number 17, they're able to stop the Monitor from conducting his experiment, but they still wind up on the planet at the dawn of the antimatter universe because it's an infinite universe with infinite monitors. There's always going to be one that goes through with the experiment, and that's all it needs to happen for the anti-monitor to be born. So they have their big fight. This is obviously their version of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. They have their big final battle, and number 16, Oliver Queen versus the Anti-Monitor as the Spectre. Big CG fights like this can always wind up being really ridiculous if they don't pull them off, but I thought that they did a pretty good job with it in Oliver Queen's death, and they let him say the thing. You have failed this universe. Everybody was wondering if he was going to say his catchphrase. There's a seminal Batman comic book moment where the Spectre himself tells Batman, you have failed this city. Now that Oliver Queen is the Spectre, and that is his catchphrase, it would have been weird if he did not say it. Number 15, Oliver Queen seemingly dies. If you can really kill the Spectre, you can kill the host that the Spectre resides in. But the rules for how the Spectre works are kind of up in the air. He's sort of a celestial being now, so there are a lot of really weird rules that they'll probably explain in the Arrow finale. So even though Oliver Queen seemingly dies, the Spectre seemingly dies, he'll still be in the Arrow series finale. That's happening at the end of this month. So don't worry, he will be back in some form. They'll have some way of explaining what actually happens to him next. Number 14, WTF. They reboot the multiverse. Oliver Queen also referenced DC Rebirth. You have to rebirth the universe. So if we're making Avengers Endgame references, this would be their version of the Hulk snapping everyone back with the Stark Tech Nano Infinity Gauntlet. But they start the new multiverse with Supergirl. She wakes up as if it's been a dream. It's sort of like their Wizard of Oz moment, like, wait a minute, you were there, and you were there, and you were there too. But they find that when everything got put back, so to speak, some things were changed. Some things big, some things small. They find out that Lex Luthor is now the benefactor behind the DEO. Supergirl has literally been working with him, quote unquote, this whole time, because remember, they rebooted the multiverse, so only the Paragons remember that things have been different. The way I'm thinking about this is sort of an Easter egg for the classic Supergirl comics when she was with the red-haired version of Lex Luthor. There was a time in the comics where she was really cozy, kind of like his girlfriend. It was a really weird relationship that they had. Then number 13, they finally reveal that all the main characters' Earths have been combined into a single Earth called Earth Prime. We all wondered if they were going to do this. Mostly I was thinking about Supergirl's Earth 38, but they've also combined Black Lightning's Earth with Earth Prime, so he is now on the same Earth with all the other heroes. I always feel like they should have done this a long time ago. I think they just waited for Crisis on Infinite Earths because it provided a logical story-based reason for them to combine their Earths. Like, okay, yeah, they just rebooted the multiverse and just rearranged some of the pieces a little bit. Number 12, they have their first big team-up moment with Supergirl and the Flash teaming up in downtown Argo City to defeat Weather Witch. So obviously the way they revealed that they're on a combined Earth is kind of funny. They slowly sort of unfurl things, like everybody besides them thinks that they've always been teaming up this whole time. Number 11 was the big Marv Wolfman cameo scene. This is their version of a Stan Lee cameo scene where the author himself appears during the story. If you're not familiar with Marv Wolfman, you didn't recognize him. He's the person that wrote Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comics originally back during the 80s. He's also created a lot of the characters that you've seen on the Arrowverse TV shows, so that's why I say this is sort of their version of a Stan Lee cameo. Number 10, Martian Manhunter goes around letting all the other heroes know about the multiverse reboot and that they're on the same Earth. Because like I said, only the Paragons remember the way things used to be. That's a bit of a pariah Easter egg in Psycho Pirate, doomed to remember everything that happened before and all the universes that died during Crisis. So obviously the comic book Crisis on Infinite Earths went down in a very, very different way. Number 9 was that funny moment with Brandon Routh's Ray Palmer getting super excited at the idea there was a super, quote-unquote, version of me talking about Kingdom Come Superman, who then later comes back at the end of the episode because they rebooted everything. Number 8 was Sarah having to tell Diggle and Team Arrow what happened to Oliver though. So remember, Diggle wasn't there for that big fight. He takes it the worst. I wasn't there for my friend at the end. But like I said, Oliver will appear in the Arrow finale at the end of the month, so Diggle will get a chance to say goodbye to him. Number 7 was the giant Bebo attack. The reason why they use Bebo for this is because it's the last episode of the crossover for Crisis on Infinite Earths, but it's also the Legends of Tomorrow episode of the crossover, so Bebo is a Legends character. They referenced the events of the Legends finale from a couple seasons ago when they all formed the giant Bebo Voltron, but it turns out it's a fake. They use it as a sort of way to show you what the new crossovers are going to look like. Like, all these heroes are on the same Earth, so they just happen to be helping each other out. No crazy multiverse travel required. They make a big joke about Heatwave selling his trashy romance novels, being this really successful author. The person who's behind the Bebo attack, Sargon the Sorcerer, was also a Golden Age villain for the Alan Scott Green Lantern in the Justice Society. They're actually doing a version of the Justice Society on the Stargirl TV show. Like in the end credits roll where they have all the different universes, you see a new version of the Justice Society. I'll explain that in a second too. But the Alan Scott Green Lantern is going to be a character on the Stargirl TV show. Number 6, the Anti-Monitor survives. They have their real Avengers Endgame style final battle in the style of comic book Crisis on Infinite Earths finale. Even if you never read the original comic book, you've probably seen this giant splash page, this 2-page foldout of everyone versus the Anti-Monitor with him being super huge, so they kind of do a version of that. Number 5, WTF, their big solution is to shrink him and trap him in the quote-unquote microverse. Ray Palmer says there might be some copyright issues with that, which is a bit of a Marvel joke and a Hasbro joke for the Micronauts. But DC does have their own version of the microverse from the Atom Comics, so it is a DC reference also. The reason why Marvel can't use the name Microverse is because it's owned by Hasbro, because the Microverse originates from the Micronauts toy line, which became a comic book that Marvel published but technically did not own. Number 4, WTF, Superman now has twin boys, 2 boys, count them, instead of just the one John Kent Superboy. So 2 Superboys will be explained on the Superman TV show when it debuts later this year. They've already confirmed that it's been ordered to series, meaning it's going to get the full season of 20 plus episodes, however many. It'll start in the fall. I don't know which day of the week it's going to air on yet though. Because they're on Earth Prime and there are 2 Superboys, maybe one of those Superboys will grow up to be comic book Superboy Prime. Number 3, also surprise kid comes back. Diggle gets baby Sarah back. Now he has 2 kids, baby Diggle Jr. and the slightly older baby Sarah. Remember, Barry wiped her accidentally during Flashpoint back in Flash Season 3. Then number 2, Oliver narrates the new History of the Multiverse, and you get that big credits roll of all the different universes and all the things that they're canonizing to the Arrowverse. So Stargirl is from Earth 2. Remember I said that they're introducing the Justice Society on that TV show? Well, Earth 2 in the comics is where the Golden Age heroes come from within the larger DC comic book canon. So calling it Earth 2 is a super deep cut for that. They canonized the Green Lantern movie as Earth 12. The movie came out in 2011, so I don't know why they're calling it Earth 12. But there's a new Green Lantern Corps TV show that's going to be on HBO Max. I don't know if they're also going to say that it's from this universe or call it from a different universe. It really doesn't matter, but there will be a new Green Lantern TV show coming in the next couple of years. They canonized the Swamp Thing TV show from DC Universe as Earth 19. They already let us know the Titans come from Earth 9. The Doom Patrol characters are now from Earth 21. They bring back Kingdom Come Superman. It's still Earth 96, but the reason why he has his classic colored emblem back is because when they rebooted the multiverse, they made it so that Kingdom Come never happened. His Lois Lane was never killed by the Joker, so it's sort of like saying that he never went through that tragedy. They also do the famous Superman outro from Christopher Reeve's movies, which they also did during the Brandon Routh Superman Returns movies, where he flies into and out of frame above the Earth. Earth Prime in the comics was a little bit different from Earth 1 though. All the main versions of the DC characters come from Earth 1. Earth Prime is actually the Earth that Superboy Prime came from. The number 1 WTF, their big Justice League Hall of Justice ending in the Super Friends. They eulogize Oliver, and Barry officially turns that Star Labs warehouse into the Hall of Justice. It looks like the Hall of Justice. They introduced it a couple years ago during a crossover. The star logo on their table is meant to reference the stars from the classic comic book Justice League logo. There's 7 seats for 7 members. Unite the 7, another Justice League reference. There's an empty 8th seat for Oliver if he ever comes back, because obviously Stephen Amell will probably cameo in some way or another in a future crossover eventually. They also have a big Super Friends tag scene at the end with Gleek. If you didn't watch that TV show, he's the monkey from Challenge of the Super Friends, implying that they're going to do him at some point, but they also play the theme song from Challenge of the Super Friends TV show at the end. There are probably a billion more Easter eggs. If you spotted any big ones that I didn't include in the video, just write them below in the comments. There'll be a couple other big videos for this. Obviously, they just introduce a whole bunch of stuff. I'll do a Green Lantern video at some point. I'll do another Flash Justice League movie, Flashpoint video at some point. While you wait for everything, click here for all my other Crisis on Infinite Earths episodes, and click here for that brand new Spider-Man Morbius trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.